From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, February the 15th, 2024. Fierce battles continue in Gaza between Israeli troops and Hamas terrorists, and the IDF announced the death of 20-year-old Staff Sergeant Rotem Sahar Hadar, killed in battle today. The IDF conducted an operation today in a hospital in southern Gaza after receiving information that remains of hostages were possibly inside the hospital. IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari gave a briefing on the operation.
We have credible intelligence from a number of sources, including from released hostages, indicating that Hamas held hostages at the Nasser hospital in Khan Yunis, and that there may be bodies of our hostages in the Nasser hospital facility. According to intelligence assessments and information we gathered on the ground, over 85% of major medical facilities in Gaza have been used by Hamas for terror operations.
The IDF said a number of suspected terrorists were also detained at the hospital. A Hamas commander involved in the October 7th massacre, who also then held an Israeli hostage, was taken out in an airstrike in Gaza. The IDF said in a joint operation by the IDF and the Shin Bet, the terrorist, commander of the Shati battalion of Hamas, who participated in the massacre on October the 7th, was eliminated yesterday in Gaza City using an aircraft. After his return to the territories of the Gaza Strip, the IDF said he held hostage the late Corporal Noah Marciano, who was murdered by Hamas inside the Shifa hospital in the Gaza Strip. A senior commander of the Iranian-backed Lebanese-based terror group Hezbollah was killed in an Israeli airstrike. The IDF said overnight an IDF aircraft struck a Hezbollah military structure in Nabatea, neutralizing a number of terrorists, including a commander in Hezbollah's elite Radwan forces and his deputy commander. The IDF said the commander helped direct a terrorist attack in March of last year, and that he has planned and operated numerous attacks since the beginning of the Israel-Hamas war. The airstrikes on Hezbollah targets follow a barrage of rockets fired at northern Israel from Lebanon yesterday, including at an army base in the area of Tzfat, killing an IDF soldier and wounding some 8 additional soldiers. Another barrage of rockets was fired at northern Israel today. About 20 projectiles were reported fired at the city of Kiryat Shmona. No injuries were reported there. A bipartisan resolution condemning rape and sexual violence committed by terror group Hamas on October the 7th passed almost unanimously in the U.S. House of Representatives yesterday. 418 votes in favor, 0 against, 1 vote of present by Representative Rashida Tlaib. The resolution, led by Representatives Kathy Manning, Lois Frankel, Mario Diaz-Balart, and Jen Kiggins, condemns all rape and forms of sexual violence as weapons of war, including those acts committed by Hamas terrorists on and since October the 7th, and calls on all international bodies to unequivocally condemn the barbaric murder, rape, sexual assault, and kidnapping by Hamas and other terrorists on and since October the 7th, and hold accountable all perpetrators. Jewish organizations welcomed the passage. CEO of the American Jewish Committee, Ted Deutsch, saying the international community's utter failure to adequately condemn and address Hamas's use of sexual and gender-based violence as a weapon of war on and since October the 7th is not merely disappointing, it is a dereliction of duty for all who claim to stand for human rights and humanity. Well, Israel will be competing in this year's Eurovision Song Contest, its organizers rejecting calls to ban Israel because of the war in Gaza. European Broadcasting Union Director General Noel Curran was cited by the Times of Israel saying, "Our governing bodies did review the participants list for the 2024 contest and agreed that the Israeli public broadcaster Khan met all the competition rules for this year and can participate as it has for the past 50 years. stating that the Eurovision Song Contest is a non-political music event and a competition between public service broadcasters who are members of the EBU. It is not a contest, he said, between governments. Creative Community for Peace had spearheaded a letter of support for Israel to participate. It was signed by over 400 people in the entertainment industry, including actress Helen Mirren, actor Liev Schreiber, singer Boy George, and musician Gene Simmons, among many others, calling on the organizers to not politicize the event, emphasizing, it writes, the Eurovision's power to foster unity through music. 20-year-old Eden Golan will represent Israel at the song contest taking place in Malmö, Sweden this May. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, February the 15th. At 7 o'clock, a symposium on fighting fascism. At 8, CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, talks about reasons for the upsurge in anti-Semitism since October the 7th with AJU President Jeffrey Herbst. At 9, Charles Cohen talks about his documentary Spiral on L'Chaim. At 10, more from the Fighting Fascism Symposium. And coming up next, an FIDF briefing on the war in Gaza with IDF reservist and public diplomacy expert Ran Bar-Yoshafat. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, February the 15th, 2024. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.